Lorenzo, I'm gonna ask you to talk a little bit about. We've talked about a bunch of topics in our shows, but one of the things that I would like to pick your brain about is the Q&A section. This is where I guess on the product pages lower on the page where they have reviews, we have tabs where people can ask questions. I know Amazon has really kind of built this practice. I want you to talk about your take on it and what kind of insights it can give brands.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of those questions, those Q&A questions. I would say both Q, so questions and answers. Um, in Usually on a website like Shopify or BigCommerce, whatever, they're mainly questions. Usually brands don't answer on to those questions there. While on Amazon, what's interesting is that people ask the questions and people answer the questions as well. So now all of a sudden you get a list, right? I've seen for some products they got like 500 questions, right? Like
Yeah.
it could be like,
And
I
multiple
don't.
answers too, right?
Yep, absolutely. So the way I think about questions for that section in particular is, I always say questions are objections that visitors have. So now, all of a sudden, users are telling us what's blocking them from converting. But answers, my favorite thing about answers is that oftentimes they're actually customers that jump in. So people that have previously bought the product that jump in and answer those questions. And oftentimes the language that they use to answer those questions is very interesting, and it could be used and swiped to improve product pages or come up with new selling angles, or add drama to a benefit, or come up with different Facebook ads and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. And it's and here's the other thing. I want to add one more point over here. What I find, Lorenzo, is that when I look at the Q&A section on Amazon versus when I look at it on a Shopify product page, they may have the feature, but it's got 3 or 4 questions, for example, or maybe 3 or 4 answers. And I think brands are scared of losing control of that Q&A, that losing control of that interface. And I think it tends to be de-emphasized for that. Just the sheer difference in numbers, right, tells me clearly that it's not a priority. CEO is not saying I need to grow this by 100% a year. And I think they are maybe making a mistake. This is the same reason why reviews were, a lot of times, 15 years ago, a lot of CEOs would say we're not going to turn on reviews because we are scared of negative reviews. Of course, now it's not something we
Yep.
talk about. So my thought is that get in front of it. People are going to have these questions, and and sometimes they're going to have questions that don't have a positive response. And that's that's the nature of things as well. And so, but I just think it to me, the Q&A section in many ways is actually more valuable than the review section itself, because the Q&A section is actually kind of telling me about questions that I need to consider. And so
Mhm.
anyway, I just wanted to mention this, that I think that we need to stop looking at the Q&A section as a liability and start looking at as a strength. And in fact, the product development team should look at if there are negative features, then that's a great way for us to make a new and improved version of our product.
Absolutely. One thing that I've done in the past, I don't have like a strong framework on this, but maybe I haven't had the time to actually develop a framework around this. But I think there is a way to basically like put together all this Q&A and group all this Q&A into themes, right? So for example, now you see tons of questions about theme X, right? I don't know, product ingredients, for example. Let's say we're talking about like a cosmetic product. Tons of questions about the ingredients, right? And obviously, if you get a lot of questions about ingredients, it means that ingredients are important to people. Yeah, sure. Under ingredients, there is a lot of like sub questions that like, source of the ingredients, or does the product have this ingredient, or I can't see the ingredients. But again, there's a lot of different questions about ingredients, and that tells me that ingredients is important to the user in order to make a decision.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's a great point. So Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. And I think this is something that I need to spend more time thinking about as well. I hope you guys got value from it. If you have any questions, drop us a question, and we will. Our Q&A section is always full of good responses. So ask us a question, and we'll respond to it. Have a good day. We'll see you again. Take care.
Ciao.